Hi, this is David from David's Broken Note. This is Trumpet Video 2, Basic Cleaning. So if you guys watched video 1, you remember that we had 2 trumpets, both of them needing basic cleanings. Trumpet number 1 was the clean one that needed a little bit of work, but a basic cleaning would cover it just fine. Trumpet number 2 definitely had some more going on, so if you haven't yet watched that video, we hope you guys will. You can skip past the first trumpet and get an idea. Is your trumpet as dirty as this one? And if it is, then you'd want to do a basic cleaning. If it's looking like a lot more dirty than the one in our video, then we'll hope you guys will consider seeing us or whatever technician that might be in your area that can offer you a deeper cleaning. So right now, what we're going to do, we're going to take apart the trumpet. We're going to show you guys how to do that and do some very basic methods to be able to have everything in place so it's very easy to put it back together. You don't really need to memorize anything. And should be fairly simple. We'll also show you some of the basic tools or the basic brushes, and once you are done cleaning the instrument, how to re-oil and re-grease and the specific areas that you want to do that. So very low key, everything that we're doing right now. Hopefully very simple, something you guys can do at home on your own. That's really the purpose of this video, so you can do it at home. And so let's show you a little bit. We've got a couple of different sizes of brushes. What I mean by size, that the bristles are a little bit longer and a little bit thicker. So having a selection of them is nice, 2 to 3 at a minimum. I like having one large one with a very long stem, so that way it's easy to get into some of the longer portions. Once we actually hit what we call the bell and the bell stem, then we're going to use what we call the snake. And I prefer something like this because it's got a nylon coating, so that way it's not going to be metal dragging against metal. We don't want to damage the trumpet. And then very long cable. This one's actually made for the trombone, but because we do trumpets and trombones here, it's just nice that I use a trombone one, but you don't have to have one if you don't want to. A regular trumpet snake will do just fine. I just like this because it's easy for me. Then we've also got valve oil as well as slide grease and cork grease. Either one would be fine. I personally prefer to use a little bit of the cork grease on the first and the third slide, and we'll show you guys that a little later on. I prefer to use this just because it's a thinner viscosity, and I like to thin it out even more by mixing it with some of the valve oil. So that way on certain notes when you're playing on the trumpet, it's very easy to essentially kick out your first slide with your thumb, as well as to be able to do that with your third slide with your ring finger, which we got to replace the ring. We'll grab that too. So for certain notes, to be able to have proper intonation, you need to be able to move these. And for basic students, you guys, the elementary school students, I wouldn't worry so much about this. You would be fine with using just standard slide grease. Just because it's a thicker viscosity, it'll hold the slides down pretty solidly and you'd be fine. But this is a little more advanced, so it's just easy to be able to play the instrument while playing certain notes in tune properly. So let's dive in. Let's take apart the trumpet and we'll show you guys how we do that. So get some of these pieces out of the way. And very simple. I like to start with the slides, so the main tuning slide, pop it out, first slide, second slide, third slide, very simple. Then I'll come to the valves, first valve, second valve, third valve, very simple. And then I'll also take off the bottom button caps just because these guys, they're threaded and spit is going to flow wherever gravity goes. And so these guys can fill up with a lot of spit, so it's just easy. Take these off, so that way it's really easy to brush the entire casing and all the ports. And when we put them back on, we're going to add a little bit of grease onto these threads. So that way it's just easy for this piece to come on and to go back on and to come off. Make it easier for yourself the next time that you have to clean it, basically. All right. And that's all it is. Very simple, very easy. That's taking apart the trumpet. That's as far as you need to go. You don't need to take off the finger button. You don't need to take off the stem. You don't have to take off the top cap or the spring and the valve guide. Not necessary for our purposes. If the instrument was damaged, then we might be looking at doing something like that if some of these pieces were damaged and not functioning properly, but not something I would expect you guys to do. You're welcome to bring it to us or wherever your local technician is, and hopefully we'll be able to help you out pretty easily. But for purposes of just a basic cleaning, this is all you need. Very simple, very basic. All right, next, we're getting into our very high-tech cleaning apparatus, which is literally just a Rubbermaid tub. That's really all you need. Or for at home, just a regular bathtub. That is just fine. Sorry, I can adjust my camera a little. You just want something that's deep enough to be able to fully submerge the trumpet into water, because we want to get everything wet, basically. We just want to get the entire trumpet submerged underwater. So bathtub is really easy to be able to do that, but I like this just because it doesn't waste as much water. There's no need to do that. We're in California, no need to waste water. We don't need to have more water issues. So this is fine. And then on the inside, you guys won't be able to see, all it is just Dawn dish soap. And just so it's froth with bubbles. Super simple. That's all we need. It's a great degreasing agent, because that's what the grease and oil and everything that's inside of it. We want to get rid of the old oil, kind of like your car, if you imagine it. We literally have pistons with oil, so every now and then you've just got to take them out, give it a good cleaning, remove the old oil, put in new, good to go again. That's what we got to do here for the trumpet. So if you guys will also remember from video 1, this had a lot of buildup inside of the lead pipe. We'll try to show you guys that so we can show you a little bit of a before and after. So you see that gunk right there on the bottom, all that stuff, we're gonna scrub it out with our brushes and it'll look nice and clean by the time we're done. All right. So, dropping it inside the water. The mouthpiece, I want to drop that in as well, and this can just soak in the meantime. We'll deal with this at the end. There. And I'll do, depending on the size of the tub, I'll do just the trumpet by itself to start, just because I don't need to have all these metal pieces banging against each other. So just the trumpet for now, and using a couple of brushes to be able to clean through it. And there's no amazing trick to this. It's literally just get a brush inside the trumpet, get some soap and froth and bubbles, and just, you can easy start with the valves, or the valve casing, I should say. And you want to do that a couple of times, just to make sure we're getting rid of all of that grease and dirt and gunk that's in there. And coming in, you want to do all of the slides. So everywhere you can basically put in a brush, you're going to want to do that. And it's just working it back and forth. Already, a lot of the gunk is pretty much disappearing. If you guys need a reference, again, check out video number 1. This is the second trumpet of that video. This is where you guys really see a difference. This is gonna be the lead pipe. And already that looks a heck of a lot better than it was. So let's grab the leak light again. Let's check out the lead pipe. And really, that didn't take long. That was just a couple of seconds. This is all it takes. It's nothing complicated, nothing special. I've been doing this for all of a minute or two, and all that food and gunk and bacteria, gone. All right, we'll keep going. Get the rest of the instrument. Getting into the third slide right now. So I like this long brush because it's easy for me to reach, so I'm not banging my hand so much into the bell. And then every time you're done working it, just dunk it inside the water. When I get to the second slide, I like a shorter brush. It's just easier to be able to get inside. So it's convenient if you guys can get a couple of different lengths and sizes of brushes, but do you have to? No, it just makes it easier for yourself. All right. Then we're gonna grab the snake, and we're gonna work through the bell stem up here. So just grab the snake, go in through the bell, and you keep going until you can't go anymore. At that point, it will have met your first valve in the casing, and it'll stop right there. And then you basically just want to bring it right back out, soak it again, do it at least 2-3 times just to make sure you're getting rid of any gunk that might have built up in there. See, that's number 2. Let's do one more. Okay. And that is cleaning the body. Let's see, the casing looks nice and pretty. Come down. Let's see into the first slide. If you guys remember, there's quite a bit of buildup here. Now it's looking pretty good. Already showed you the main tuning slide. That was where the biggest buildup was. Coming down to the third. Looking okay. All right, we can call the body essentially done, and we'll set this aside. We'll let it dry. In the meantime, while that's drying, we'll hop on to the other slide. So now you've got the main tuning slide, first slide, second, and third. Put them all in the water. We do the valves. They're labeled, remember, they have 1, 2, 3 written on the valve, so it's okay if you get it jumbled. We'll show you again how to put it back together, but put them also in the water. We want everything to soak. And now, since we're doing all the small components, I like a smaller brush. It's a little easier. No need to have the big guy again. Last but not least, I'll also throw in the bottom caps so these guys can soak. And we'll grab a couple of Q-tips to clean this out when we're done too. All right. I'm just grabbing slides at random. So this is the third slide. And grab any of them, that's fine. We're just brushing away. There we go. Already looking pretty good. And remember, the third slide didn't have a whole lot going on, so really we're just using this Dawn dish soap to get rid of any germs and chemicals, anything that might be in there, and remove the old grease and oil as well. Okay, slide number 1. Already, yeah, a lot of that's going away on slide number 1. So remember the brown tarnish, that's okay. That's just the brass changes this color naturally over time, so don't worry about that. Really just care about the green that used to be there. And it looks like just about all of it's gone. I'll do a little more, there's a tiny bit left, and then we'll call this one done. If you've got any stubborn pieces that are not wanting to come out, if you just want to let it soak, sometimes that can help break it apart. So any spots that are really, really bothering you, just let it sit there the longest. All right, let's take a look. Inside's looking pretty good. Outside, I've still got a little bit of green right here. I'm gonna keep scrubbing the outside to get rid of that. The inside looks good. All right. All right, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Tiniest bit left right here. I'll scrub it once more and then we'll call that done. But all in all, a lot of it's going away. Again, tarnish, not a big deal. Not super worried about that. If yours doesn't happen to come out this quickly, or if you really have to go at it much more than this, then it's possible that you guys just might need a deeper cleaning. So again, you're welcome. Give us a call or find out your local technician if they do any kinds of cleanings. Just, we're really wanting to get rid of all the dirt and gunk, whatever was in there, especially if this was an instrument that belonged to somebody else. If it's a rental that belonged to, or was rented by another customer. If it's maybe a school instrument that's kind enough to let you guys use it. Now's a good time. Just take everything apart, give it a good cleaning. Very simple. See the ports looking great. The black is okay, that's just tarnish on the brass, but the green is gone. That's what we're looking for. It's basically just like brushing your teeth, but for your trumpet. And you've got to brush your teeth every day, and then once a year, maybe even twice, depending on how much you're playing the trumpet. You just got to go see the dentist, and that's basically us. This is looking good. So this is what we're aiming for. That's good. No particular order. I'm not doing this by anything in particular. The numbers on the valves, they'll be our indicators to put it back together. So don't worry if you get it mixed up or if you don't memorize which one's which. There we go. Very simple. We're just brushing basically. All right, we've got one last one. I'm sorry, two more. We've got the second slide, and then we've got the mouthpiece. So the mouthpiece, we'll use the smallest brush we have because the shank is really, really small. So again, if you can get a couple of different sizes of brushes, it just make it easier on yourself. And there we go. A little bit of tarnish, not worried about that. That's fine. The green is gone. That's what we're looking for. Okay. So, smallest brush, here we go, that I have, really thin, fits the profile of the mouthpiece. Now we're just gonna scrub from the inside. All right, finishing up the mouthpiece. And that looks pretty clean. That's what we're aiming for in the end. Where it just looks like there's nothing there. There we go, a little bit of water sitting inside. There we go, that looks pretty good. Perfect, all right. And that was the cleaning process. Very simple, not a whole lot to it. So let's get the water out of my way. Let's show you guys how to put it back together. So right now, you just want to get some basic cloths. If you've got a towel, something like that, just to dry off some of the components a little bit. Hopefully most of the trumpet should be nice and dry at this point. Just wipe off water. It doesn't need to be bone dry, just wipe it off and that's fine. Okay, that's good. So now I'm going to start with the valves. So Yamaha trumpet, I've got Yamaha valve oil. Use whatever valve oil you like. All of them, they're fine. Everyone's got their preference. If you don't know yet, sticking with a big manufacturer, you'd be fine. And they have different versions. This one's a regular synthetic, so it's kind of a standard viscosity, so it's not a very heavy liquid, it's not a very thin one, so regular isn't a bad place to start, but try out a couple different ones. You never know, you might find something that works better for you, it feels better, and there's no right, no wrong, just whatever works best for you, that's the right answer. So, coming to valve number 1, check on the stem, or sorry, on the body of the valve, should be number 1 on it somewhere, so my camera's not quite focusing on it. There we go, see that one? That's what we're looking for. So, add a little bit of valve oil, I go down the line. Line it up, and we've got a 1, serial number 3 on the trumpet. So, that way we know, valve 1 goes into the valve casing. And then I'll spin it around. I want to spread that valve oil all the full circumference of the inside, so that way it's lubricating the whole valve. And then I want that valve guide. There we go, if you guys heard that click. Once it falls into the right spot, then I can tighten up the valve. And then we'll test it. Feels like new, fantastic. That's valve number 1. Let's see valve number 2. There we go, look for the number on the side. Go down the valve. Inside, spin it. You want to listen for that click. There we go. Then tighten the top. Fantastic. And then valve number 3. Go down the edge, go down the side. Spread it all the way around. Listen for that click. There we go. It's pretty faint. So the camera might not have picked it up, but I can hear it, so you guys should be able to hear it on your trumpet. Perfect. I like a little bit of cork grease, just because it's a little bit of a thinner viscosity than slide grease. So for me, it's my preferred, but slide grease just fine, so don't feel bad. You don't have to get any specific, just whatever works best for you. So I get a little bit of this. I want to put it on the threads, so I'll literally just come here, put a chunk, put a chunk, put a chunk, and that'll make it a lot easier to put on the bottom caps. All right, so I'll let that sit for a second to grab the bottom caps. These guys I needed to let soak because they had a lot of green inside of them. So let's grab some Q-tips real quick. We'll clean these ones up. Grab a Q-tip and just work your way all the way around, all the way around. Look at that, great. And that's what was inside your trumpet. The next one, I'm going to do it to all 3. Look at that. That was just sitting inside, growing. Then last one. I should tell everyone, this isn't a particularly dirty trumpet. This is about average. This is somebody who hasn't cleaned it for more than 6 months. So you guys gotta ask yourselves, and you just gotta be honest with yourselves, when was the last time that you gave it a cleaning? Has it been more than a month? Has it been more than a year? I get trumpets all the time that it's been 10 years, and you know, best of intentions. Grandma and grandpa, they wanna give it to their grandkid, but it's been sitting in the closet and that bacteria has just been growing. So it's a good idea if you want to pass on an instrument in the family. Very good, but consider cleaning it first. All right, then we'll get a little bit of the slide grease, work it around the slides. This is slide number 2. This is the little one. And then I'll do one piece at a time to where I'll put one in, and then I want to rotate it to really spread out the grease. Spread it out, spread it out, spread it out. Great, and then, good. That's it. Slide number 1. Go down the slide. We want to put it in, and again, we want to twist, because we want to work that around, and then do sort of a back and forth twist. Okay. That's part of slide 1. We gotta get the other side, a little bit. Grease. Really try and spread it out. Okay, let's try both. All right, I would call this pretty sluggish, but it definitely works really well. So for elementary school kids, this is really as far as you need to go, because for now, you guys aren't really kicking out the first or the third slide when you're playing certain notes. So you don't have to go beyond this. You would be just fine. It's clean, it's protected, it's not dry. That's all you need. But for middle school and high school students that probably should be doing that, then we want to back off. You want to back off the slide, come back to the valve oil, add just a little, and then we want to work that in. There we go. Now, clean up some of that excess that I have. Now, it should be a lot easier. So hit the first, and that should be pretty smooth. Hitting the first will release some of the pressure, the air pressure that's building up inside, and then test it. And that should be pretty smooth and pretty free to be able to use. If not, these two pieces, the two slides, might be twisted and misaligned, or it could be bent in. There isn't a brace in between, so the metal can get crushed. And if that's the case, let us know. Happy to help you out. But it should, once you relieve the pressure off of the first valve, it should be really smooth, really easy to slide up and down. So that way you can be really quick with your attacks to be able to play notes properly in tune. And then it's the same process when it comes to slide number 3. We're just gonna come back in, some grease. Add some grease. And just work it in. All the circumference, the full circumference of the valve. Sorry, the slide. Then do the other one. All right, again, elementary school kids, that's as far as you need to go. Junior high, high school, college, everybody else. Back off the slide. Add a little bit of valve oil. Work it in. Clean up the excess. And so if you want to see a good test, I'm not going to release the pressure off of the valve and see how it wants to just slide back in. That's the air pressure that it has internally, because the suction is really good. That's why we hear those pops when we take the instrument off. And the fact that it moves that freely to slide it back, because it's just air pressure pulling it back in, then you know the valve is really slick and really smooth. And then when you release that pressure by pressing the third valve, it should be like butter. And that's what you're looking for. Again, Elementary school kids, you don't have to worry about this. Everybody else, it's definitely a good idea. Make it easier on yourself. All right, main tuning slide. Just work it all the way in, just like the others. Fantastic. See, have a buildup of grease. We'll just get rid of that, wipe it away. And now it's fully back together. Simple. Mouthpiece, nice and sterilized. I like to go a little further, just especially if it's an instrument that belongs to a customer or if it's a rental that's going to go back out into the fleet. Then I'll use a little bit of the Roche Thomas, the Mighty Mist. This stuff is great. Or if you don't have this, a little bit of denatured alcohol, just to be able to sterilize the mouthpiece so it's nice and clean for the next person. And that's basically it. Hope you guys are able to follow that. Hope you'll be able to do it yourselves during this time when we're all trapped at home a little bit. Something that you guys should be able to do pretty safe, pretty easily. If you have anything worse than that, you're more than welcome to bring it on in. David's Broken Note is currently doing these repairs for customers on appointment or by appointment only. So if you guys are having issues, please let us know. Happy to take care of it, just to make sure that your instrument is clean and safe, so that way when we eventually go back to school, no one's going to get sick again. All right. Our phone number is 530-661-2349, and we hope to see you guys playing in the future. Thank you.